Hi there, Lillian here. If you know someone that it seems like their marriage is highly conflicted, you can feel something's off, but you can't come right out and say it directly. If opportunity ever provides a space for it, please feel free to forward any of my videos to her that might fit her situation. Those of us that are stuck in this kind of Stockholm syndrome, we are blind to the difference of the attention we receive from a male. We can't tell the difference between abuse and love. My purpose on this channel is to help hopefully heal broken feminine hearts. It's my hope that by sharing my journey of how God took me from abused and broken to a strong and true daughter of his own, how he woke me up to the reality of the evil that I was living with, and he set me on his path of healing and wholeness. When a wife learns this knowledge, there's two possible outcomes. It can help bring a feminine embodiment into a difficult marriage, and it will ease the tension that's negative. The second outcome is the awakening that she's actually married to a wolf in sheep's clothing, and how healing will allow her to organically take back her personal autonomy from that dangerous man. Waking up to the reality that she's been living in will increase her confidence in our God and her self-esteem that's rooted in God's love for her. She can grow her boundaries so that she can safely gray rock that covert narcissist out. So today I want to continue talking about not hiding anymore. That when you continue to live behind the mask set up for you by a covert narcissist, you're helping him hide the truth from everyone about who he is and what he's doing to you and your family. It's a lie to think that God wants you to continue in abuse under the pretense of a sanctified and godly marriage, so the view of all Christian marriages won't be tarnished. That's a lot of weight and pressure for an individual wife to absorb onto herself. And it's not biblical. Jesus always leaves the group for the sake of the individual. He doesn't put the expectation on the weaker vessel, the one, to hold the weight for everything else. The closer in proximity you are to a regular church community, the more covert the mask must be. And that means it's more dangerous for you. A wolf can't bring his wife to church every Sunday or to a weekly small group or to visit some friends in the church and 1 month say she ran into a door and got a black eye. And the next month say, oh, she wasn't paying attention and slammed her hand in the car door. That's why her fingers are broke. The next month she fell down the stairs and that's why her leg is bruised up and she's walking with a limp. That's not the way wolves aggress. In order to stay hidden, a covert narcissist has to maintain the look of a sheep. When I look back, Dean did get physical with me, but it was in ways that never left marks. It was inconspicuous. One of the biggest ways covert narcissists perpetrate physical abuse without looking intentional is through driving. Instead of looking like an aggressive, abusive partner, they just look like bad drivers. They're reckless. They follow really close in traffic. They stop really hard. They start really hard. They change lanes in the middle of an intersection. They don't use indicator lights. They usually have a lot of speeding tickets. When I was in counseling through the Domestic Violence Center, my counselor told me that it's a real thing that almost all abusers do. Use their vehicle as an extension of themselves to cause harm to their target. It's now classified as physical domestic violence. Another inconspicuous way, setups, like moving picks in basketball, or to be kind of in the way and abruptly step forward whenever I came around the corner. He would squeeze me too hard when he came in for a hug, so hard that he hurt my breasts by pushing his pectoral muscles, feigning being clueless about his own strength. The rule for a covert narcissist is plausible deniability. Their abuse never draws explicit attention. It's never loud, obvious, and visible. It's never conspicuous or suspicious. It's always and only mental, emotional, and psychological. It's hidden, stealth, and quietly maiming. It's ambient. There's never, ever a witness left on the flesh or the witness of another person. A wolf can't stay hidden if the abuse is open or there's evidence. The hiding is the emotional rush for them. That is part of how the dangerous man feeds himself on you. The wolf in sheep's clothing gets away with devouring that lamb in front of people because no one knows what they're really seeing, only the lamb that is experiencing it. They know they've treated you with kindness and then malice, back and forth, back and forth. Then you go out in public or you go to visit people you know. And this method creates a mess inside your hormones, and you're twitchy inside, and you look a little neurotic to people, just a little, because your brain is experiencing intense trauma right at that moment. There's an oscillation between oxytocin, that bonding hormone that you get from kindness, and then it switches to cortisol that you get with malice, back and forth and back and forth. Of course you look neurotic. All the damage was done inside of my body, my heart, soul, and mind. No one saw my strength breaking down from being emotionally consumed by a predator. All of that disfigurement was hidden inside my body, by my body. This is why unhealed femininity on the outside looks selfish and complaining or nitpicky and neurotic and needy, like her mind is slipping. When you're married to a wolf in sheep's clothing, those are all the things he implies about you. You're too much. Because of how he's set you to be in front of people, he's set you up to be that way in front of people you know. The reality is that you are literally becoming less and less of yourself, not too much. You're struggling to not disappear. Weeks turned into months and months into years and finally decades because I didn't understand the hina principle and how to practice it. I didn't understand my own feminine power and protection. The hina principle in marriage is a small, tiny drop that makes a huge splash, causing far-reaching effects. It simply means to receive and reflect. In truth, live your honest, authentic self. You manifest whatever your husband has planted inside his relationship with you, so that he harvests the truth of what he has sown. In science, it's Newton's third law, cause and effect. That's why hina is translated with the English words, so that. Do this, so that happens. Love your wife so that she will respect you. What God is saying is, if you're a healthy head, your wife will respond, just like the church is responding to her head. Healthy headship is not commanding, ordering, directing, or domineering leadership. It's not taught, it's caught. People want to follow healthy headship, healthy leadership. It happens naturally. There's an overlap with this concept into parenting. You might think that you parent your children, but you don't. Your children catch you parenting. How you live with them, what you do around them, not what you say, tell, or command them of them. You'll influence the character of your children, whether for negative or for positive. You cannot non-parent. If you tell your kids don't lie, but then you demonstrate with your life deception or manipulation of people, they will catch the lying, deceptive spirit, not what you've taught. The overlap is limited because you're not one flesh with your kids, but in marriage, the cause and effect is striking. The purpose of the hina is to reflect the truth, whatever the truth is that gets caught in your relationship. In Ephesians 5, we've wrongly turned verse 33 into a transaction between a husband and wife. This focus puts less responsibility on the husband and more on the wife. Verse 33 was never intended to put any intentionality on the wife, only the husband. That's why Paul extrapolated from the previous verses when he compares husbands to Christ. They're both in headship. Paul's telling husbands how to get the same results in their marriages that Jesus gets with the church. Of course, husbands are not Jesus Christ building a relationship with the eternal church, but they are building a human partnered relationship called marriage that is supposed to reflect that eternal relationship. When the head is healthy, the body is healthy. When the head is unhealthy, the body resists through her countenance and actions. Peter points us in the same direction as Paul. In the same way, wives, submit yourselves to your own husbands so that even if some disobey the word. This is the purpose of the hina. You reflect back what is unhealthy disconnection. That is the truth. You don't lie by pretending everything is fine. That's not what Peter means. In 1 Peter 3, we're told not to talk when we experience sin from our husbands. We respond with our actions. In Ephesians 5, Paul gives us the what and the how. Peter gives us the why. Sisters, that's the protection of the hina principle. Here, Peter is saying, by sinning against you, your husband is forcing the relationship to get smaller. God wants you to let it. Instead, turn your focus to submitting in your role. You can still function as a wife in a dutiful role, but not the relationship. Remember, the headship of the relationship is not your responsibility. The polarity that's happening is that your husband is actually pushing you away by sinning against you, and you allow this to happen by leaning back. A healthy man will feel the relationship connection getting smaller and weaker. A healthy man will lean forward to find out what's wrong and take responsibility and work towards collaboration. He doesn't want to be out of relationship with you. He doesn't want his wife disconnected from him because he knows he needs her help. That's what he's told in Genesis 2:18. You will feel him doing this cleaving. But to an unhealthy man, a toxic, abusive, dangerous man, hina is seen as challenging to his authority. He sees her power of self-protection in the hina principle, and it threatens his cover. He sees it as the silent treatment, whenever you won't fight with him in response to his sinning against you. If you do try and explain how you are hurt or what the sin feels like coming towards you, you're framed as opinionated, self-centered, complaining, nitpicky, and needy. In Christian terms, you're unsubmissive and disobedient. You're contentious, and you lack trust and faith in God. The wife is always wrong whenever she reflects back to him the truth of what he is. But because he will not accept ever that he has to change, develop, mature, or grow, he will only accept the reflection that is positive and stellar. So the only thing you are allowed to reflect from the dangerous man are lies. He's the head. Being a man makes him always right. Covert narcissists are misogynists. You are wrong because you're female. The unhealthy husband is dangerous because he's not seeking headship and leadership clarity through love, unity, and peace, like Jesus does with the church. The dangerous man doesn't want to invest in his bride like Jesus does. However, the dangerous man still wants her to have his authority on her head, but to lie and to pretend that he is investing in her relationally, just like Jesus is. He who loves his wife loves himself, for no one ever hates his own flesh, but provides and cares for it, just as Christ does for the church. A healthy husband is seeking to collaborate for the purpose of building something greater than himself. His end game is about others, outside of himself. He puts others first. He has a kingdom mindset. He knows that by investing in the relationship with his wife, he's truly loving himself. With a wolf, he wants to appear like the head, but the headship and leadership is not loving, clear, or in peaceful unity. It rules and dominates through anger, confusion, chaos, fear, manipulation, and coercion. It's very forceful. He believes headship is owed to him, free and clear, without any consequences for his words or actions. An unhealthy husband is seeking to consume his family for the purpose of what is best for himself. He believes what's best for him is what's best for his family, because they are an extension of himself, not autonomous individuals belonging to God. His end game is to invest in himself through the expenditure of his family. He consumes them into himself rather than collaborating with them for the kingdom. When your head is unhealthy, you'll become unhealthy like him and more sickly until you discover the hina principle. The hina principle took me from that unhealed, foolish wife in 2 Timothy 3:6 that was broke, blind, and gullible to becoming a formidable wife. When I started to see the difference between a difficult husband and a dangerous man is when that shrewdness kicked in and I became that feminine force that God created me as. The hina principle revealed that truth. If you think you might be married to a dangerous man, wake up from your slumber. Satan has brought his war right into your home. Don't be mistaken. He's facing you dead on. You don't have to overtly teach women that Christianity wants them to quietly welcome abuse. You don't have to come right out and tell wives it's their responsibility to absorb covert domestic abuse from wolves into themselves. So Christian marriages don't look bad. I mean, that totally smacks of darkness, doesn't it? It's conspicuously evil. You'd easily see Satan's fingerprints all over that. In war, darkness moves strategically silent and slowly. To be effective, the motive has to stay hidden. It is covert before it comes overt. All you have to do is 1. Neglect how God created them as females. 2. Neutralize her feminine embodiment with that of masculinity, making it sound like equality with masculinity is a worthy pursuit. 3. Negate all her femininity by simply focusing on masculinity instead. Closing thoughts. First, shh. Don't say a word about this to him. Discovering that your husband's dangerous is a scary place to end up. It's never where you thought you'd be, and it feels like an unreality. But your silence about your awareness of what he really is, that's your safety zone. And always remember, a clueless guy that causes dysfunction and seems difficult, he's not dangerous. But the malignant man is not clueless. He just pretends to be difficult and dysfunctional so that he can hide how dangerous he is.